What happens when one of the biggest pop stars in the world sits down for what should be a routine interview, only to find herself facing off against a host who seems determined to tear her down? What we witnessed on The View was nothing short of explosive, and by the end of it, Jennifer Lopez was escorted off the set in what can only be described as one of the most dramatic moments in daytime television history. Before we dive into this incredible story, make sure you hit that subscribe button and drop a comment below telling me what you think really went down behind the scenes. Now, let's get into what really happened when Jennifer Lopez faced off against Whoopi Goldberg. The morning started like any other at the View studio. Jennifer Lopez had arrived early, her team bustling around her as she prepared for what was supposed to be a straightforward promotional interview for her latest project. The makeup artists were putting the finishing touches on her look when Whoopi Goldberg walked past the green room, barely acknowledging the superstar's presence. "Good morning, Whoopi," Jennifer called out warmly, extending her hand for a greeting. Whoopi paused, turned slowly, and looked Jennifer up and down with what could only be described as thinly veiled disdain. Well, look who decided to grace us with her presence," she said, her voice dripping with sarcasm. Jennifer's smile faltered slightly. "I'm sorry, is there something wrong?" "Wrong? Oh no, nothing's wrong. I'm just wondering what brings you here today. Are we talking about your music, your movies, or are we talking about your personal life again?" The tension in the room was palpable. Jennifer's publicist stepped forward, sensing the hostile energy, but Jennifer waved her off. "I'm here to talk about whatever you'd like to discuss, Whoopi. That's what interviews are for." "Is that so?" Whoopi's eyes narrowed. "Well, I have quite a few things I'd like to discuss with you, Jennifer Lopez." As they made their way to the set, the other hosts were already in position. Joy Behar sat reviewing her notes. Sarah Haynes was chatting with the production team. Sunny Hostin was checking her phone, and Alyssa Farah Griffin was getting her mic adjusted. The atmosphere felt charged, like everyone could sense something was about to go down. "Ladies and gentlemen, we're back with Jennifer Lopez," Whoopi announced as they returned from commercial break, her voice taking on that familiar authoritative tone that viewers knew so well. "Jennifer, thank you for being here." "Thank you for having me," Jennifer replied, settling into her chair with grace despite the obvious tension. "So, let's start with the elephant in the room," Whoopi began, leaning forward with her hands clasped. "You've been in the entertainment industry for over 2 decades now. You've had your ups and downs, your successes and your failures. But lately, it seems like you're trying to reinvent yourself again. Why is that?" Jennifer blinked, clearly taken aback by the aggressive opening. "I wouldn't say I'm reinventing myself, Whoopi. I'm simply evolving as an artist and as a person. That's what we all do, isn't it?" "Evolving," Whoopi repeated, her tone mocking. "That's an interesting word choice. Some might say you're just desperately trying to stay relevant in an industry that's moved on without you." The other hosts exchanged glances. Joy Behar cleared her throat uncomfortably, while Sarah Haynes looked genuinely shocked by Whoopi's hostile approach. "I think that's a bit harsh," Sarah interjected, trying to lighten the mood. "Jennifer has had incredible staying power in this industry. That's not easy to achieve." "Staying power?" Whoopi turned to Sarah with a look that could freeze water. "Is that what we're calling it now? I call it strategic publicity moves and calculated comeback attempts." Jennifer's composure was beginning to crack. "Whoopi, I'm not sure why you're being so aggressive with me. I came here in good faith to have a conversation." "Good faith?" Whoopi laughed, but there was no humor in it. "Let's talk about good faith, Jennifer. Let's talk about authenticity. Let's talk about the real you versus the image you've been selling to the public for years." Sunny Hostin, who had been silent up until this point, finally spoke up. "Whoopi, maybe we should focus on Jennifer's current projects rather than getting into personal territory." "Personal territory?" Whoopi's voice rose slightly. "Everything about Jennifer Lopez is personal territory that she's made public. Her relationships, her feuds, her business dealings. She's built her entire brand on being an open book. So why are we suddenly supposed to treat her with kid gloves?" Jennifer's eyes flashed with anger. "I've never asked to be treated with kid gloves, Whoopi, but I do expect to be treated with basic respect, especially from someone who's supposed to be a professional." "Professional?" Whoopi's eyebrows shot up. "Oh, that's rich coming from someone who's made a career out of being a diva." The studio fell silent. Even the production crew seemed to hold their breath. Joy Behar looked like she wanted to crawl under the table, while Alyssa Farah Griffin sat frozen, unsure of how to respond. Excuse me. Jennifer's voice was dangerously quiet. You heard me. Whoopi continued, seemingly oblivious to the line she had just crossed. We've all heard the stories, Jennifer. The demands, the attitude, the way you treat people who work for you. And now you come on here expecting us to just smile and nod while you promote whatever project you're pushing this week. Jennifer stood up abruptly, her chair scraping against the floor. I don't have to sit here and listen to this. Oh, you don't. Whoopi stood as well, her voice getting louder. Well, let me tell you something, Jennifer. This is my show, and when you come on my show, you play by my rules. Your show? Jennifer's voice was incredulous. Last I checked, this was called The View, not The Whoopi Show. There are other women at this table who might have something to say about that. Joy Behar finally found her voice. Whoopi, maybe we should take a breath here. No, Joy, Whoopi snapped, not taking her eyes off Jennifer. I'm tired of pretending. I'm tired of playing nice with people who think they're better than everyone else. Better than everyone else. Jennifer's voice cracked with emotion. I have never once said or implied that I'm better than anyone. I've worked my entire life to get where I am, and I've made mistakes along the way, just like everyone else. But I don't deserve to be ambushed like this. The other hosts were now looking back and forth between the two women like they were watching a tennis match. Sarah Haynes looked close to tears, while Sunny Hostin appeared to be calculating whether she should intervene or let this play out. Ambushed. Whoopi's laugh was bitter. This isn't an ambush, Jennifer. This is accountability. This is someone finally asking you the hard questions instead of letting you skate by on your charm and your image. What hard questions? Jennifer, shot back. You haven't asked me a single legitimate question since I sat down. You've just been attacking me personally. I've been trying to get to the truth, Whoopi countered. Something that seems to be in short supply when it comes to you. The tension in the room was now so thick you could cut it with a knife. Jennifer's team was hovering near the edge of the set, clearly debating whether to step in. The cameras were still rolling, capturing every moment of this unprecedented confrontation. The truth. Jennifer's voice was shaking now, whether from anger or hurt. It was hard to tell. You want the truth, Whoopi? The truth is that I came here today with respect for you and for this show. I've always admired what you've accomplished, and I thought we could have a real conversation. But instead, you've chosen to attack me for reasons I don't understand. Whoopi's expression softened for just a moment, but then hardened again. Don't try to manipulate me with your fake sincerity. Jennifer, I've been in this business long enough to recognize performance when I see it. That was the final straw. Jennifer's composure completely cracked. Fake sincerity, she repeated, her voice rising to match Whoopi's. You want to talk about fake? Let's talk about how you've been fake smiling at me all morning while obviously planning this attack. Let's talk about how you're being fake professional while completely disrespecting your guest and your fellow hosts. The other women at the table were now completely silent, watching this train wreck unfold before their eyes. Joy Behar was gripping her coffee mug so tightly her knuckles were white. Sarah Haynes looked like she might faint. Sunny Hostin was staring at Whoopi with an expression of disbelief, while Alyssa Farah Griffin seemed to be trying to make herself invisible. I don't have to fake anything, Whoopi declared. I'm being real with you right now, probably more real than anyone has been with you in years. Real? Jennifer's voice cracked again. This isn't real, Whoopi. This is cruel. This is unprofessional. This is everything that's wrong with this industry. The confrontation was reaching a boiling point, and everyone in the studio could feel it. The production team was frantically trying to figure out whether to cut to commercial or let this explosive moment continue to unfold. But before they could make that decision, Jennifer Lopez turned her attention to the other hosts, her voice trembling with emotion. I need to ask you ladies something, Jennifer said, her eyes moving from Joy to Sarah to Sunny to Alyssa. Are you all just going to sit there and let this happen? Are you going to let your colleague attack a guest like this without saying a word? Joy Behar shifted uncomfortably in her seat. Jennifer, I think maybe we should all just take a step back here. Take a step back? Jennifer's voice was incredulous. Joy, she just called me a diva and accused me of being fake. She's been attacking me personally since the moment I walked in here. Where's the step back for that? Whoopi slammed her hand on the table, making everyone jump. Don't you dare try to turn my colleagues against me. This is between you and me, Jennifer. No, it's not, Jennifer shot back. This is supposed to be a panel discussion, not a one-woman assassination attempt. These ladies have voices too, don't they? Or do you speak for all of them? The other hosts exchanged uncomfortable glances. The power dynamic at the table was suddenly very clear, and it wasn't pretty. Sunny Hostin finally spoke up, her voice carefully measured. I think we should try to find some common ground here, Sunny said diplomatically. Jennifer, you've had an incredible career, and Whoopi, you're asking tough questions. Maybe we can find a way to have this conversation without it getting so heated. Common ground. Whoopi turned on Sunny with surprising venom. The only common ground I'm interested in is the truth. And the truth is that Jennifer Lopez has been coasting on her image for years while treating people like garbage behind the scenes. Jennifer's eyes went wide. Treating people like garbage? What are you talking about? Give me one specific example of how I've treated someone like garbage. Oh, you want specifics? Whoopi's smile was predatory. Let's talk about the backup dancers who've worked with you. Let's talk about the crew members on your film sets. Let's talk about the assistants who've quit working for you. That's enough. Jennifer's voice was shaking with rage now. You're spreading rumors and gossip like some kind of tabloid reporter. This is supposed to be a legitimate news program. Legitimate? Whoopi laughed harshly. What's legitimate about your fake relationships and your calculated publicity stunts? What's legitimate about the way you've manipulated the media for decades? Sarah Haynes finally found her courage. Whoopi, I think you're being really unfair. Here, Jennifer has never been anything but professional in my interactions with her. Professional? Whoopi turned on Sarah with the same intensity she'd been directing at Jennifer. Sarah, you've met her maybe twice at industry events. You have no idea what she's really like. And you do? Sarah's voice was getting stronger. Based on what? Gossip and rumors? The tension at the table was now affecting everyone. Joy Behar looked like she was about to have a panic attack. Alyssa Farah Griffin was staring at her hands, clearly wishing she was anywhere else. But Jennifer was done being diplomatic. You know what, Whoopi? Jennifer's voice was steady now, but there was fire in her eyes. You want to know what's really going on here? This isn't about my career or my personal life or anything I've done. This is about you being threatened by successful women who don't bow down to you. Threatened? Whoopi's voice went up an octave. By you? Please. Yes, by me. Jennifer continued, her confidence building. And probably by every other successful woman who's ever sat in that chair. You can't stand it when someone else is getting attention, can you? You can't stand it when the spotlight isn't on you. That's ridiculous, Whoopi sputtered, but her defensive tone suggested Jennifer had hit a nerve. Is it? Jennifer pressed on. Look at how you're treating your own colleagues right now. Sarah tried to defend me, and you attacked her too. Sunny tried to find middle ground, and you shut her down. Joy tried to de-escalate, and you ignored her. This isn't about me, Whoopi. This is about your need to control everyone around you. The other hosts were watching this exchange with a mixture of fascination and horror. It was like watching someone finally say out loud what they'd all been thinking but were too afraid to voice. I don't control anyone, Whoopi said, but her voice lacked conviction. Don't you? Jennifer's voice was getting stronger. Look around this table, Whoopi. Look at your colleagues. Do any of them look comfortable right now? Do any of them look like they feel free to speak their minds? Joy Behar cleared her throat nervously. Maybe we should go to commercial. No, Jennifer said firmly. We're not going to commercial. We're going to finish this conversation. Because I'm not going to let this woman destroy me on national television without fighting back. Whoopi's eyes narrowed dangerously. Destroy you? Honey, you're doing a pretty good job of that yourself. Really? Jennifer stood up again, her posture confident despite the obvious tension. Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like you're the one who's desperate here. You're the one who's attacking a guest for no reason. You're the one who's making your colleagues uncomfortable. You're the one who's making a fool of yourself on your own show. My show? Whoopi's voice was pure venom now. You think you can come on my show and disrespect me? I haven't disrespected you, Jennifer replied calmly. I've defended myself against your attacks. There's a difference. Sunny Hostin finally spoke up again, her voice stronger this time. Whoopi, I have to say, Jennifer has a point. She came here as our guest, and we should be treating her with respect. Thank you, Sunny, Jennifer said, her voice softening slightly. That's all I was asking for. But Whoopi wasn't finished. Oh, so now you're all ganging up on me. Is that what this is? Nobody's ganging up on you, Alyssa Farah Griffin said quietly, speaking for the first time since the confrontation began. We're just trying to have a professional conversation. Professional? Whoopi's voice was getting louder again. There's nothing professional about what's happening here. This woman came on my show and tried to make me look bad. I didn't try to make you look bad, Jennifer said, her voice rising to match Whoopi's. You've done that all by yourself. I came here to talk about my work, and you turned it into a personal attack session. Personal attack. Whoopi was practically shouting now. You want to see a personal attack? Let's talk about your track record with relationships. Let's talk about the way you've treated the men in your life. Let's talk about your ego and your demands and your complete lack of self-awareness. That was it. Jennifer had reached her breaking point. How dare you? Jennifer's voice was shaking with fury. How dare you bring up my personal relationships on national television? How dare you judge me for things that have nothing to do with why I'm here today? I dare because someone needs to, Whoopi shot back. Someone needs to call you out on your behavior. What behavior? Jennifer was almost screaming now. What have I done to deserve this? I've been nothing but respectful to you and to this show. I've answered your questions. I've tried to be professional, and you've done nothing but attack me from the moment I sat down. The other hosts were looking back and forth between the two women like they were watching a car crash in slow motion. The production team was in complete chaos, unsure whether to cut the cameras or let this unprecedented moment continue. You want to know what you've done? Whoopi's voice was pure acid now. You've spent decades thinking you're better than everyone else. You've built your entire career on being untouchable, and now you can't handle it when someone finally tells you the truth. The truth. Jennifer's voice cracked. The truth is that you're jealous. The truth is that you can't stand seeing another woman succeed. The truth is that you're using your position on this show to bully people, and your colleagues are too afraid to stop you. Afraid. Whoopi's laugh was bitter. They're not afraid of me. They respect me. Respect. Jennifer looked around the table at the other hosts. Is this respect? Joy, do you feel respected right now? Sarah, do you feel like your opinions matter? Sunny, Alyssa, do you feel like you can speak freely at this table? The silence from the other hosts was deafening. Their expressions said everything that their words couldn't. See, Jennifer continued. This isn't respect, Whoopi. This is fear. This is intimidation. This is exactly the kind of toxic behavior that's destroying women's opportunities in this industry. Whoopi's face was red with rage. Don't you dare lecture me about women's opportunities. I've been fighting for women's rights since before you were famous. And look how you're using that platform now, Jennifer shot back. You're using it to tear down another woman. You're using it to silence your colleagues. You're using it to bully a guest. Is that really the legacy you want to leave? The confrontation had reached a fever pitch. Both women were standing now, facing each other across the table like gladiators. In an arena, the other hosts sat frozen, watching this battle of wills unfold before their eyes. Legacy. Whoopi's voice was dangerously quiet now. Let me tell you about legacy, Jennifer. My legacy is built on truth, on standing up for what's right, on not letting people get away with their lies and their fake personas. And my legacy, Jennifer replied, her voice equally quiet but much more controlled, is built on hard work, on talent, on treating people with respect, and on never using my position to tear down other women. The two women stared at each other. Across the table, the tension so thick it was almost suffocating. Everyone in the studio was holding their breath, waiting to see what would happen next. The silence stretched on for what felt like an eternity before Jennifer finally spoke, her voice cutting through the air like a blade. You know what the real tragedy is here, Whoopi? Jennifer's voice was steady now, but there was steel in it. The real tragedy is that you had an opportunity today to have a meaningful conversation with someone who's actually accomplished something in this industry, and instead you chose to use it as a platform for your own personal vendetta. Personal vendetta? Whoopi's eyes blazed. I don't have a personal vendetta against you. I just refuse to participate in the myth-making machine that surrounds you. Myth-making machine? Jennifer laughed, but there was no humor in it. The only myth here is the one you've created about yourself. The myth that you're some kind of champion for women when you're actually the biggest obstacle women face in this industry. Joy Behar finally gathered enough courage to speak up. Ladies, please, we need to find a way to dial this back. Dial it back? Jennifer turned to Joy with fire in her eyes. Joy, when was the last time you felt comfortable expressing a controversial opinion on this show? When was the last time you disagreed with Whoopi without worrying about the consequences? Joy's mouth opened and closed like a fish out of water. She looked around the table desperately, but no one came to her rescue. That's what I thought, Jennifer continued. And Sarah, what about you? Do you feel like your voice matters equally at this table? Sarah Haynes looked like she wanted to disappear into her chair. I think we all bring different perspectives. Different perspectives that are allowed to exist only if they don't threaten the queen bee, Jennifer said, her gaze never leaving Whoopi's face. Isn't that right, Whoopi? I've had enough of this, Whoopi declared, her voice booming across the studio. Security, I want this woman removed from my set immediately. Your set? Jennifer's voice was incredulous. There it is again. Your set, your show, your rules. What about your colleagues? What about their show? I am the moderator of this program, Whoopi said, her voice shaking with rage. And I have the right to remove disruptive guests. Disruptive? Jennifer's voice rose again. I'm disruptive for defending myself against your unprovoked attacks? I'm disruptive for speaking the truth about what's happening at this table. Sunny Hostin finally found her voice again. Whoopi, maybe we should think about this. Jennifer is right that she was just defending herself. Don't you start. Whoopi whirled on Sunny with fury. I've been carrying this show for years, and I won't have my authority undermined by anyone, guest or co-host. Carrying this show? Alyssa Farah Griffin spoke up for the second time, her voice stronger now. Whoopi, this show belongs to all of us. We're all part of what makes it successful. Are you? Whoopi's voice was dangerous now. Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like you're all perfectly happy to let me handle the difficult conversations while you sit back and play. It's safe. Maybe because you don't let us handle anything, Sarah said, her voice getting stronger. Maybe because every time one of us tries to take the lead on something, you shut us down. Jennifer watched this exchange with growing satisfaction. Now, we're getting somewhere. Now we're having the real conversation that needed to happen. This conversation is over, Whoopi announced, but her voice lacked the authority it usually carried. Security, I want Ms. Lopez escorted from the building. On what grounds? Jennifer challenged. Because I defended myself? Because I spoke the truth? Because I exposed what everyone in this room already knew but was too afraid to say? Two security guards appeared at the edge of the set, looking uncomfortable with the situation. They clearly didn't want to be part of this drama, but they had their orders. Ma'am, one of them said to Jennifer, his voice apologetic, we're going to need you to come with us. Jennifer looked at the security guard, then back at Whoopi, then at the other hosts. This is really how you want to handle this? You're going to have me physically removed because I refuse to let you bully me. You brought this on yourself, Whoopi said, but her voice sounded hollow now. Did I? Jennifer's voice was calm now, almost conversational. Let me ask you something, Whoopi. In all your years in this industry, in all your years fighting for women's rights and equality, is this really the moment you want to be remembered for? Is this really the hill you want to die on? Whoopi's expression faltered for just a moment, but then hardened again. I'm not dying on any hill. I'm standing up for what's right. Standing up for what's right. Jennifer's voice was full of disbelief. By silencing a woman who dared to speak back to you? By intimidating your colleagues into submission? By using your platform to tear down instead of build up? I don't have to listen to this, Whoopi said, but she made no move to leave. No, you don't, Jennifer agreed. But your viewers do. Your colleagues do. And they're going to remember this moment. Long after you've forgotten it. The security guards were still waiting awkwardly, unsure whether to physically remove Jennifer or wait for the situation to resolve itself. Go ahead, Jennifer said to them, her voice dignified despite the circumstances. Do what you have to. Do. But know that everyone in this room, everyone watching at home, everyone who hears about this later, will know exactly what happened here today. She turned back to Whoopi one final time. You had a chance to be better than this, Whoopi. You had a chance to show that successful women can lift each other up instead of tearing each other down. But you chose this instead. You chose to use your power to silence and intimidate rather than to inspire and elevate. I chose to tell the truth, Whoopi said, but her voice lacked conviction. No, Jennifer said quietly. You chose to hide behind your position and your reputation rather than have an honest conversation. You chose to attack me personally rather than engage with my work. You chose to silence your colleagues rather than listen to their perspectives. That's not truth, Whoopi. That's cowardice. The word hung in the air like a slap. Whoopi's face went white, then red, then white again. Get her out of here, she whispered to the security guards. Get her out of here now. Jennifer gathered her purse and stood up with dignity. I'll go, she said to the guards. You don't need to escort me. I can walk myself out. She turned to the other hosts one final time. Joy, Sarah, Sunny, Alyssa, you all have voices. You all have valuable perspectives. Don't let anyone convince you otherwise. As Jennifer walked toward the exit, she paused and looked back at Whoopi one last time. I hope someday you realize that the real power isn't in tearing people down. It's in building them up. It's in using your platform to create opportunities for others, not to destroy them. Just go, Whoopi said, but her voice was barely audible. Jennifer nodded and walked off the set with her head held high, leaving behind a studio full of stunned silence and a table full of women who were suddenly seeing their workplace in a completely different light. As the studio doors closed behind her, the other hosts sat in uncomfortable silence, none of them quite sure what to say or do next. The cameras were still rolling, capturing their shocked expressions and the palpable tension that Jennifer's departure had left in its wake. Well, Joy Behar finally said, her voice shaky. That was something. Yeah, Sarah Haynes agreed quietly. That was definitely something. Whoopi sat in her chair, staring at the spot where Jennifer had been sitting just moments before. For the first time in years, she looked uncertain, vulnerable even. The power dynamic at the table had shifted, and everyone could feel it. We'll be right back, Whoopi finally managed to say to the cameras, her voice lacking its usual confidence. As they cut to commercial, the questions hung heavy in the air. What would happen next? How would this affect the show? Had Jennifer Lopez just exposed something that everyone already knew, but no one had dared to say? What do you think really happened behind the scenes after Jennifer left the studio? Was Whoopi justified in her actions, or did she go too far? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more explosive celebrity drama stories like this one.